How to interpret a picture. Point 2 about this how-to is that you should interpret pictures like historians do or like geographers do. You're not just jumping in at it. You're going through a process. And as you go through that process, you're making notes and organizing them eventually to share them. It looks like this. It's called a historical method. When you first have an impression, you engage the problem, you have a question you're responding to, but then you go through a process of thinking that through and deciding how you're going to investigate it further so that in the end you're able to explain and communicate it. That's a historical method. Let's go through a sample, like as if we were trying to find out about New France. We would have that as a question. We would be engaging that problem. We might see an initial photo. But when we see that photo, after we've thought about our first impressions about it, like, wow, it looked like that, we need to then think it through. Think through our first impressions. We need to ask ourselves, for example, how direct is that representation? This is a photograph. How could it be that direct? Or in this case of an image, what does it seem like? What does it look like? Who might these people be? Or who's doing what in this particular image? Which again is slightly different than the last image. We look at certain pictures and we can make inferences about what's going on. This particular picture is fairly active and we can see that there's a fight scene. What can be assumed then about the relationship of people or things portrayed in an image like this? What is the most important part of an image like this? You could use a tool to list your initial impressions and then to make inferences. Write down how direct it is. Write down what seems to be going on. But then you need to investigate further. You need to find out about that particular document. And so you can identify the source of the document, the author, the date. And again, use another tool for that or write it down somewhere. Note it, share it, and think about the implications about what you wrote. When the picture was actually made, who made it? That implies something. Who composed this image? Do you know anything about him? Can you trust him? And use all the additional information you can find. Like, for example, the title of the picture might be significant. The author you found out before, what do you know about his life? The date, in the context of what was going on at the time, the events, and other people involved. And yes, organize your thoughts with another tool. Identify the title, identify the author, share it with people, and compare what they found too. You need to really focus on new information as well and go beyond what you just saw on the picture. You might need to research. And in order to do that, actively pursue the information. Jot down questions you have. Questions about the initial problem, but also questions that came up as you were analyzing the photograph based on its title and so on. And then go and look for other documents to support that and other pictures too. And do they help you reflect more on that picture you have? Do they help change your perspective on it? Yes, there's a tool for that too. It makes me ask this. You could write that down and you can record the documents and images you found to support your questions and to help you reflect on the original image. Because thinking like an historian demands hard work and investigation. so that you can more effectively interpret a picture.